right, and we are back with Champions of the Fog here for Championship of the Fog qualifier number 10, and I am joined here today by none other than Lil Regard himself. How are you doing today, friend?
Is it really qualifier number 10? Have we gone through that many already?
Yeah, it's number 10 and 16. We're getting closer and closer to March 30th and the Championship of the Fog.
Crazy. Also, totally not ignoring your question. I'm doing great. I get to watch Wraith on Larry's, and this is, so you introduced Larry's as a concept for comp to me almost a year and a half ago, and I was very skeptical, and ever since then I love Larry's. I don't know why, I just love it.
It's great for like very specific killers. It would be better if we didn't have the issue of screen shearing or tearing with stealth killers, as we do have to kind of follow them to know what the hell is going on half the time. But Ace here in chase with Wraith will end up going down to the M1 there. Got a little bit caught up on that gurney, and looks like Ace will be the first hook here.
Absolutely. Worth noting, you say for stealth killers, out of all the killers in our qualifiers, Deathslinger's the only one that does not have screen tearing, which is actually just sad. not even my trickster.
Things that like I noticed, I'm like, how did that happen? But looks
Chucky.
like we do have a hex totem that has been cleansed. That was in fact a hex ruin. Survivor's also
really?
well aware of a sloppy butcher and corrupt intervention.
Crazy. Also, I think they're aware of another perk now that I'm looking at it.
So are they? So correct me.
Yeah, they walked away.
I haven't played it with the new update. I see it as one stack of it. Would they be aware of that perk?
Yes, because they walked away 16 meters from the hook, and it activates every single time now for 12 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that is a bigger buff than I was thinking it was. I was thinking
it's
they
insane.
buffed the activation of it, not all of it. But Nancy going for a 1-for-1 exchange will successfully get it. Looks like Ace will get off scot-free, and looks like Wraith's going to be satisfied here with the 1-for-1. And I think they might be tracking Ace, though. And
yeah, look
sure
at that.
enough, yeah, they are in hot pursuit.
Yeah, look at the gens being blocked for 12 whole seconds every single time, except for the fourth time, in which I believe it's 30 or 40 seconds of block on the fourth time. Yeah, this perk got a major buff.
Yeah, that is a little bit insane, but we'll see how these survivors manage it. It's kind of nice with the new update. We're seeing all the new perks as well as all of the changes in real time. I think that is a deliverance from the Nancys. We do see that broken stats effect, and I don't think we saw a heal on the Ace beforehand. So that will be their second chance perk, and a decisive strike too from the Ace.
Survivor's getting plenty of use out of their second chances here and making very good use of them. Decisive from the Ace, deliverance from the Nancy. Survivor's doing a really good job, but going down once again. I don't think they were able to get the dead hard in time.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do not believe so. And this here will be Ace, but on the hook for the second time, meaning that they're one hook away from being sent back to the campfire via the entity. Survivors, though, have completed one generator, so they are well on their way to powering those exit gates. So I was waiting to see if they are successful in doing so. We do see Jake here. Looks like they will get the pounce stun on the Wraith, though.
Yeah, really good read from here from the Jake on that mind game, getting the stun and able to get out of the way as well. However, that single man gen, luckily for them, they know all the perks. There's no pop goes whiz, there's nothing else to regress that, and they're not tunneling out the Ace. Just okay, about to say, you better go back for that Ace. You're tunneling the Ace, right?
Yeah, that does seem to be the game plan for the Wraith here. We do see scratch marks, no blood though. Here's the Atom. Looks like the Wraith will take this opportunity, but seeing scratch marks with blood, this could be to Nancy, this could be to Ace, but they do find the Ace. Second gen freeze fires popping off. Ace realizing the Wraith is there a little bit too late, and that there will be the Ace down on the ground. And this here will be Ace impact the campfire via the entity.
So this is my biggest nitpick with Grim Embrace and Pain Res now, and obviously the killer didn't bring Pain Res this time. With these perks seem to be designed to, hey, hook everyone once, which is great, but the problem is they still benefit from tunneling.
Yeah,
and I wish both of these perks would actually deactivate if the survivor dies. I know that's like kind of harsh coming from a killer main, but like the perks were designed to incentivize non-tunneling gameplay for pubs, and you can still tunnel and get full, if not better, value out of them.
Yeah, I mean, we see that with perks like Hex Ruin, so there's definitely precedent for it. We'll have to wait and see if behavior ever does go into that direction. I think you could apply that to perks like Barbecue initially, Scourge Hook, Pain Residence, Grim Embrace, anything that really, like you said, is incentivizing perks, or killers rather, to go for more than one survivor at a time. But Wraith taking stun. Adam kind of hold up a little bit of a strange angle there. But looks like Wraith may have drop chase. Nope, never mind.
Nope.
Adam looked behind him, and sure enough, there is the Wraith who will get that body block before the pallet. Adam trying to get around, but knows it is inevitable. I do believe we have a survivor nearby, though, and Wraith sensing that too, going to take a look around just in case. We see the Jake, we see the Nancy. Looks like Nancy will get pushed out the gen, but a sprint burst will get them away. Really
good job from the Nancy with the heads up play like that. And yeah, I don't know if they're gonna check for the survivor or not. They're not. There's the pallet start coming.
Yeah, background player helping out a little bit too as Jake gets that speed burst, and that will be Adam back off to the races. I mean, survivors were definitely looking to be a little bit in a rough position earlier, but now things are looking quite good. Adam, sensing that the Wraith was going to block them off from the pallet again, will actually dodge it, but I don't think they get back to this loop in time, though. Getting faked out by the Wraith might get them enough distance, and sure enough.
This Adam's juicing right now, and yeah, they can't go from there to go for the Nancy and said you can't afford to commit to this chase. Survivors are probably going to finish another 2 gens. God pallet being thrown, but Nancy says no, you have to fully unclose. Okay, there they go, they get it.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistime there by the Nancy. Looks like an insta break there from the Wraith. So Wraith does have the add-ons for those insta breaks, and looks like Nancy will get the vault in time, getting the reverse pallet stun as well. Gonna make things a little bit more difficult for the Wraith.
Yeah, Survivor's doing a really good job bringing this back. As I mean, one server dead, I think effectively at what, 3 gens remaining, and Survivor's doing a really good job trying to bring this back. I think Nancy's gen is pretty close. Yeah, they're gonna have to go kick it and work away. Also, worth noting, you mentioned Ruin earlier deactivating. They took away the activation from death.
Oh.
Yeah, in the most recent update, Ruin no longer deactivates on death, which is, to be fair, Ruin never struck me as a perk that was needing to be that nerfed, but.
Yeah, it definitely put a bit of a death sentence on the perk. We saw it here and there on killers, you know, on maps like Treatment Theater. But definitely it tended to work against the game plan of most killers, which is that early tunnel out, and just did not get a lot of value. We do see there the first hook there for Adam, though, so we do see the activation of Grim Embrace, and we do seem to find the Jake here.
Indeed. That's the other thing that I was kind of bummed we didn't have a qualifier yesterday, because I wanted to see what the meta was going to bring for killers, because yeah, you got Survivors. If you've been playing the past week, obviously it's, you know, Grim Embrace, Pain Res, all these different things. Like every MUN and their mother is bringing Grim Embrace to try it out, and it's good. And I'm surprised we didn't see it here with Pain Res and some others let on, like Dead Man Switch and such, but I mean, it is the first trial of the day. Maybe they will start bringing it later on, but I'm really interested to see what happens.
It's going to definitely be interesting to see how the meta shakes out. Jake trying to find some resources here. Not going to find any, though, from the looks of things, just in this main hallway. No pallets, no nothing, and that there will be the Jake down, which does mean another Grim Embrace incoming, slowing these survivors down just a little bit. And we actually take a look and see both survivors currently off of gens as well.
I'm about to say, that's going to be the Grim Embrace. Now, luckily for the survivors, the Obsession's already dead, so they don't get any information off this, but that's going to be the big Grim Embrace. I believe it's 40 seconds. It might be 30, but I think it's 40. It's going to be a lot of slowdown, so this killer has plenty of time to eat through resources, because survivors aren't going to be doing anything.
Yeah, Survivor's definitely going to be in a rough position here. I think the Wraith is exactly doing that, just kind of breaking through resources, waiting for the unhook there. I think you could have waited for the unhook. Unfortunately, they were a little bit aggressive with it. Wraith going to go for the BT hit, and will incidentally, I think, trap Adam in a corner. Either Adam is experiencing some issues. I think Wraith saw that too, so that was not a spectator bug. I think that may have been some net issues for Adam, that there being second hook for Adam, one hook away from being sent back to Campfire via the entity. And at this point in time, yeah, Wraith is in a very good position. I believe Nancy, the only survivor yet to be hooked twice.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And this gen back here is going to be prevented from finishing as well. I didn't realize this one back here had been so much progress. That's well, with the way the new gens work, that's not too hard for the stars to come back and finish on it. And that's what I'm also wondering to see, because a lot of these comp games result in the 3-gen scenario. Ooh, Nancy gonna go down though. And Jake, did they just go for a medkit in the basement?
Yeah, it kind of looks like that might have been the case. I don't think they had a medkit earlier, so very likely may have scrounged one up out of the one chest in the map, which they are allowed to do based on the rule set. And however, the Hell State will not last long, as Wraith does find them get a quick hit in as well. And Wraith checking gens once again, making sure that they do not get a 4th generator popped here, as we do see that unhook, I believe, from the Nancy. And Nancy in a little bit of a unfortunate position here. Wraith taking a short side. Nancy going to be baiting them back over to the long side to get the pallet drop in time. And sure enough, will get it. And now we're going to be mind gaming just a little bit, and Wraith will win out.
They will, and yeah, I think you're right, Adam. Just disconnected. I think their net definitely having a lot of issues there, which really unfortunate for them, because that's full points awarded. But will Jake finish this gen?
I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. The gens were kind of split, so if Wraith does, you know, check them in the wrong order, it's a possibility. It's not outside of the realm, but I would be surprised.
Or they realize that the hatch is not the play, because the hatch doesn't matter if there's 4 gens done. 4 gens is better than... Oh, and there's the hatch closed. That will not be a 4th gen complete.
Yep, and Jake at this point just saying, all right, come find me. You know, no hope of escape. The exit gates are kind of kitty-cornered themselves. They're across the map. I'm injured. Yep, just come get me, put me on a hook, and send me back to my survivor friends.
I say, take me out of my misery. Wraith, nowhere to be seen. I wonder if they get the noise notification. Maybe they're too far away.
It's a possibility. Jake,
I forget this proximity.
If I remember correctly, last time I checked, it was like, what, 20 meters is sound for the visual notification. It's what, like 30, something like that?
I think it's a bit more than that, but yeah, I mean, if you're long ways on Larry's, yeah, there's gonna be, lengthwise on Larry's could be rough.
Well, Jake taking a chance, going to be going to the exit gate. I imagine the Wraith will be there waiting for them. But no sign of the race so far. Not hearing the snarls from them either. Jake kind of doing some moonwalks, and 20 seconds, but there is the Wraith ready and uncloaking.
Oh, come on, Wraith.
And looks like Jake is just gonna show off their moves before being sent back.
But to say, I'm not really sure what the Wraith was doing this whole time.
I think they're just going back and forth between the 2 exit gates, just didn't see the noise notification from the Jake and just said, yep, on to the duck you go.
Indeed, and that will be the 4K 2 remaining. And I believe next we're going to be going to the Ghostface set. So I'm curious if this is going to be a similar thing with the Grim Embrace, if we're going to see Grim Embrace, or they're going to take something different. Also, what I'm surprised is there wasn't any Blood Favor. Usually Blood Favor's on this map.
Yeah, that is true, but we'll have to wait and see. That being said, we are going to get set up for the next round here in just one moment.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We're loading back in for the Ghostface set, as I do believe... Actually, I didn't actually catch who won the previous set. Was it Tecay?
It was, in fact, Tecay who did win set number 1 as the Wraith. We'll have to wait and see if Tecay can pull out the victory here in set number 2 with the Ghostface. Once again, here on the Treatment Theater, of course, we do see good old Corrupt Intervention, and looks like we're going to get a stock on a few different survivors there.
That is a juicy amount of stock, and I don't know if they fully comprehend just how much stock they got there. 2 different survivors, practically 99'd here, and ready for the pickings. However, there is that a God pallet next to a God pallet?
Yeah, you know, Treatment Theater be like that sometimes.
About to say, Larry's doing Larry's things, and Ghostface also doing Larry's things, exposing the survivor. However, not getting the stun though. And Ace in a bit of trouble going down over the pallet. And that'll be an early down for the Ghostface, and an early relinquishment of the Corrupt Intervention.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm still, wish they would change, is that Corrupt would not necessarily end as soon as the first survivor goes down. That at the same time, just make it a little bit more base kit. But we do see the first hook there for the Ghostface. Survivors not really working on gens all too much as of yet. As far as perks that have been revealed, we do of course know of Grim Embrace as of right now, Sloppy Butcher, and Cryptovention. Fourth perk still a little bit of an unknown, as it requires Survivor to be injured and not downed.
Indeed, and Grim Embrace is just so good. Just watching this, oh man, looks like okay. So Jake, Nancy, both. Jake's about 75%. Nancy almost 99. Oh, hello, Nancy. Speaking of, that is going to be a very dead Nancy. Another server going down, and that means you just go for the hook here. Yeah, you don't even have to go back and try and proxy it. Just let them get the unhook, and another Grim Embrace coming in. Do we know if anything else that the killer has? We saw Sloppy, right?
We saw Sloppy Butcher, Cryptovention, Grim Embrace. Like I said, the fourth one's still a little bit of a unknown as of right now. And there's Grim Embrace once again, and Ghostface once again out on the prowl to see where these survivors are at.
I feel like Grim Embrace is just a really good extension of Corrupt Intervention. Just kicking survivors off of gens for X amount of time, letting the killer get back over and possibly pressure or push the survivor off a generator is so nasty.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that it's not like Thrilling Tremors, to where it doesn't block the gen when survivors are on it. I mean, it gets you information. It would allow survivors still to work on a gen. I feel like that might be a change in the future of from what Grim Embrace currently is.
That is possible. That would make a lot of sense, actually. So to be fair, I've been running Thrilling Tremors and Grim Embrace together just to mess around with it and doing a full block build, and honestly, a full block build applies so much pressure passively. I don't feel the need to go after a single survivor, and going down over the pallet, a really good mind game from the Ghostface, and another hook incoming. This is crazy. This killer isn't even attempting to tunnel here and is getting away with it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, it looks like the use of Grim Embrace pretty strong, all things considered. Survivors still on 5 gens, and none of them are close to being completed. I'm not sure if this is a result of Grim Embrace. I'm not sure if this is a result of the Ghostface just applying a lot of consistent pressure or what, but Nancy getting revealed there will get the stun, though, and looks like maybe a little bit of a burst of speed. Jake tried to come in for the body block, but will end up body blocking the Nancy instead.
Unfortunate. Also, I'm surprised they didn't go for a quick hit on the Jake potentially as well, as we do see the deliverance from Claudette. A basement hook coming in as well. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think it's the start. I think Ghostface fighting 3 different survivors at the same time, getting 2 of them stalked to 99. That might have, that's a huge snowball for a Ghostface on this map. It
really is. Also, the answer to your question of why they didn't tag the Jake, simply put, they are 75% on their stock, so there was no reason to. I mean, that's one of the biggest big brain plays you can do as a survivor against Ghostface, is purposely take body blocks while someone is on the Ghostface's shoulder, because it forced the Ghostface to potentially remove their stock percentage and might even remove a 99%, or you risk losing the wiggle on the survivor on your shoulder.
That's a fair point too. Yeah. I didn't even realize they were 75%, and looks like Ghostface trying to up that to, they're just gonna go straight for it. I don't know if that was a failed 99 or if they were just wanting to push the pressure around. Ooh, but that might. Oh, that's another big brain play, showing hey, survivors, go for the unhook, because I'm totally chasing the guy that I just exposed. Instead, going back down to the base and.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what the Ghostface had planned. Now they get the exposed on the Jake, they get the down on the Claudette. First gen popping up for these survivors, and looks like we are gonna go for the tunnel out on the Nancy here, but actually, I'm not sure if those were Nancy's scratch marks. I did not see any trails of blood along with them.
I didn't either. Also, I just realized, so neither of these killers have taken an explicit gen regression perk, and I'm wondering if there's going to have to be a meta shift around the new gen regression event system. You can't afford to have your 3 gen locked up at 4 kicks. You need to have all your kicks available to you potentially. I don't know.
I mean, yes and no, right? I think the change really kind of incentivizes the use of perks like Ruin, as I don't think it counts towards, the gen regression. but also de-incentivizes the uses of perks like Surge. I think Surge just like got
Surge is
a
dead.
nerf. Like at the end of the day, it is no longer a perk that you want to use. Scourge Pain Residence, Pop Goes Weasel, really controllable on what gens are getting hit by. I mean, Scourge Hook I think is good regardless of the fact that you don't get to choose, just because it is the most progressed gen. Whereas Pop, I think you just have to be a little bit more selective on when you are going for the Pop Goes Weasel and not doing so on a gen that has like 5% and instead doing so always on a gen over 50%.
That's a fair point. Ace coming in for the body blocks on Jake to prevent this exposure hit.
Yeah, but that now means that 2 survivors are off of gens. We saw the Nancy during the chase as well, and we will see that hit on the Ace. Ghostface with a little bit of mind game attempt there. Jake not going to fall for it, not going to drop the pallet either. And
oh my goodness, almost getting
like they will go down.
Yeah, that was really close. That was like a couple seconds left, but they are under a pallet. Nancy's saying, "Hey, don't you drop that? Don't you do it?" But I think Nancy's gonna get chased away here. And I mean, you have 2 survivors off of gens. What more could you want?
Yeah, and looks like they're gonna get exposed too. So Ghostface gonna say, "You know what? Why not? Let's slug out the Jake. Let's go for the Nancy." That forces the injured Ace to jump back and pick up the Jake if they want to, but it looks like Ace is just going to be sitting on gens as of right now.
It makes the most sense. I think it's the same thing that Jake had earlier in the previous game. Your best bet is to just get gens done because that is the primary win condition here, and you're sitting at 3 remaining. This, you obviously don't want to get 2 tapped and not be able to force set 3 for Sadako, so I don't know if it's gonna. Yeah, but I say there's the last grim embrace, and that's gonna be a long one. I think unless Ace is able to stealth this out entirely, that is going to be lights out. That is rough.
Yeah, it is less than ideal, that is for sure, and especially as they are still injured, they are going to be a little bit louder. Of course, Ace being one of the quieter survivors, but even still, Ghostface will be able to pick up their noises within 20 meters, and Ace slowly making the way towards the hook, trying not to be a bit too quick, but they are disturbing crows all the while, and I imagine the Ghostface will be nearby the hook in order to get this final down.
I'm about to say, with the way it's tucked into the corner there, you can hide 16 meters away just fine and wait for them to come in for the unhook, because what else do you have to do? You know the gens were blocked for 40 seconds. What do you care?
Yeah, and I think the Ace may have saw something. We do see that progression to second stage. And now it comes down to whether or not these survivors can get 1 gen completed. There's the Ghostface, as was expected. Ace here with them. Ghostface going for the swing, but will miss it.
Oh my goodness, they're both here though. They haven't left. They need to leave. What are you doing? Oh, is that off the record?
No, I believe that was dead hard from the Jake. So Jake gaining a bit of second chance value there from the dead hard. We will see that vault there from the survivor. It was a mid vault, but Ghostface unable to get the hit.
I was about to say, that would have 100% hit me in my game. So brave Ace, but Ghostface trying to stick around, but not going to catch the Ace off guard, and they will be able to get back through this pallet. They're going to go for this again. They got stuck at the same place again. Oh, that was a dead hard. Wait, that had to have been off the record on Jake.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I think you may have been right that it was off the record on Ace. Sure enough, you are correct. It was dead hard on Ace, off the record on Jake. And looks like the Ghostface might be dropping chase here.
It does make a lot of sense. If you can hold the survivors with 3 gens remaining, that is huge. Like that's just a massive boon for your survivor squad that says, hey, you only need to get 3 gens done. Just, commit to the gens. Don't even go for saves.
Yeah, I mean, that is the name of the game right now, as Sorrow does need to win, and that there will be a reveal of the 4th perk, and
is that there
is Face the Darkness, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, is that the first time they've screamed this match?
Yeah, that's the first time, because Ghostface has been consistently downing survivors, deactivating the perk after injuring someone, either that or downing them while they're exposed. So survivors just have not seen it until now, and it's going to be getting a lot of value because there aren't many survivors to search for this totem.
Absolutely, not to mention, again, being in their power, no tear radius at all. They're going to be just on a constant screaming timer. I've never seen Face the Darkness get such value as it is here, because it's going to prevent them from being able to stick on gens, because the Ghostface is going to know.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Looks like Ghostface still in chase with Jake. Jake kind of not sure whether or not the Ghostface is there. They haven't seen them in a while. Kind of getting a little bit comfortable here. Maybe too much so, as Ghostface is nearby.
About to say, but where? Jake just hiding out under this pallet. They look like they've branched off. I mean, to be fair, if the survivors are scared, don't know where you are, they're staying under pallets. They're not doing generators, which is obviously to your advantage, but not sure where Ace is at the moment. Oh, this gen has a lot of progress. They're fighting for it. Survivors are not giving up.
Yeah, they still have a chance, and looks like we have found the Ace, so looks like maybe they felt that Jake was so far off of gens that going for the Ace made the most sense here. And sure enough, Ace going to be trying to mind game this pallet. We did see this earlier with the with the Wraith rather, and Ghostface will not get the hit this time round though.
Ooh, just I'm gonna say, I feel like this is a pallet that you will eventually go down under, White. Like, there's no way that this pallet stays safe forever.
I mean, we've seen survivors utilize it to its fullest, and it's gotten a lot of value at times, but it really does come down to nerves of steel from the survivors and just really good timing and understanding of like what the killer is going to do and when.
That is fair. Looks like they... Yeah, but I say there's not going to be any screams coming now since Survivor's on the ground, and looks like Jake is going to be stealthing out for the moment. Yeah, making sure these gens are regressive, but that's two separate gens that were effectively 75%, so Survivor's really close to coming back. Ace crawling away. I'm wondering if you just crawl away from the gens being worked on so the kill has to pick up away from the generators would be my guess.
I mean, the fact of the matter is Ghostface doesn't even need to pick up for all intent and purpose. The bleed out still counts towards hook stages, so they could just let them crawl on the ground. This does force Jake to potentially go for the pickup if they do want them to. It just allows the Ghostface to continue patrolling gens, regressing them bit by bit. Though it looks like Ghostface just not wanting to really kick the ones that are currently active. I'm not sure if they've reached their regression maximum or what, but not kicking all the gens, just some. But we did see blood right there at the pallet. Ghostface, I'm not sure if they realized it or not.
I think they did. They turned around after a second to go back, so interesting. And yeah, I think they know what's up. The game is up. Jake is found. And unless, I'm about to say, I don't think you have time for, you know, Ace to bleed out here on the hook. I think it's just going to be, yeah, lights out, and that is going to be the 4K3 gens remaining. Oof.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there for the survivors, but that there will end set number 2 and possibly round number 1. We'll find out for you guys here in just a few short moments. Of that being said, we are going to go on a quick break as we do get set up either for round number 2 or set number 3. In a moment, though, we'll be back. All right. And we are back, this time with round number 2, Barbarians versus Tecay, here on the Suffocation Pit, with Tecay killing once again, this time against Barbarians Survivor Team.
And I am personally looking forward to see what the nurse is going to bring here. Is it going to be Grim Embrace? Is it going to be Pain Res? Is it going to be 4 slowdowns? Don't know, but oh, an ultimate weapon. How original and scary. What are these survivors going to do about it, Guild?
I mean, here's the funny thing. I've been finding more and more survivors playing around Ultimate Weapon and doing so well, because the biggest thing is, it doesn't really matter if they're found. It matters how well they stay in chase. Though Quentin here taking the hit there from the nurse. No bounce lining there on the drop down, and looks like that will be a quick 2-tap there on Quentin.
About to say, Quentin not having the chase of their life there, and unfortunately first hook coming in for them pretty early on. We see 2 people on a gen and a single gen being worked on, and a failed skill check is going to be very costly there, as it is also a Pain Resonance. And is it going to be Pain Res Grim Embrace? I'm about to say, if you bring Pain Res Grim Embrace, I don't know if survivors finish gens. Like, that's just nasty.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it really does come down to how long survivors can stay in chase with the nurse. We do see that ultimate weapon once again. I'd imagine there was a corrupted invention, so I want to say that's all for perks, right? Well, I guess we don't know if there's Grim Embrace or not. So far, it doesn't look like it. Let's take a look real quick.
I didn't see them block. Yeah,
So,
no Grim Embrace.
no Grim Brace, but we did see a block generator that there was in fact a Dead Man switch. So we do got all 4 perks revealed, that there being Dead Man switch, Skirt Choke, Pain Resonance, Corrupt Intervention, and of course Ultimate Weapon.
And it does look like there's reassurance on the Quentin here, hanging out on the hook. So Quentin gonna be about to say, what do you think reassurance actually does? Do you think it just strengthens their rib cage and collarbone to be able to hang on the hook longer?
Apparently, and looks like we did see one Survivor Ace now in chase with the Nurse, giving Survivors a chance to get a unhook here. Smart choice by the Nurse not to proxy that hook with reassurance activated. We did see a nice little fake attempt there by the Ace, but unfortunately Nurse being just a little bit too on point. And we will see Ace here going on first hook. I imagine this will be a Skirt Choke Pain Resonance, which will hit Feng Min's gen here. Feng Min going to be leaving just a little bit early, but no Skirt Choke on that gen at least.
I was say, it's either not a Scourge hook or wasn't. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I imagine they're leaving preemptively as soon as you know that it's Dead Man switch, you leave before the hook happens, so that way if the killer comes over, you know, you're not going to be pushed off the gen. You wait to see what direction the killer goes before coming back to it. Yeah, but I was say, Feng Min's going to be working on the gen, but they do have to leave to go for the unhook. I thought they might commit and try and see if they can get a gen done here, because they're still at 5 gens. And I'll admit, on Suffocation Pit, this is not the place we want to be at. And ooh, Nurse looking around. Do they spot the Quentin? I don't think so. They did use Ultimate Weapon already, so we see that blind status effect.
Yeah,
that's like, it gives you a snapshot, so you have to be able to carry that snapshot and know where they are. And Nurse not able to find anybody here.
Yeah, looking every which way, but not seeing the Quentin. Looks like Quentin and Kate have gone away scot-free. Nurse looking around, will not be able to find the Feng Min in their gen, it looks like. So that it looks like they will be able to get at least 1 gen going here.
A really good break for the Survivors, as that I'm not gonna lie, the first 2-3 minutes of this match were not looking good for Survivors. However, blinking over here towards the logs, and oh my goodness, a beautiful sprint burst to get away from the killer here. And I don't think they're going to commit. I think they're just going to go back because they sense another person. Are they committing?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like Nurse ends up kind of losing track of the Kate, at least temporarily. But Kate will get found out there trying to stick to the edge map. And looks like they will take a hit there and get a little bit of distance. But I don't know, the hill has never been a good spot for Survivors to loop around with Nurse. You're really looking for those smaller obstacles that just really give the Nurse's hitbox a tough time.
For sure. 3 gens, I was going to say 2 gens popping, but they had a 3rd one ready to go somewhere. So 3 gens all of a sudden back in the Survivors' favor. They're, oh my goodness, this will be a huge comeback. I mean, I guess the Pain Res and the Dead Man switch are a little bit topside heavy, and a Deliverance as well from Survivors. Are they going to clutch this and pull it back?
I mean, it's looking like it is a very real possibility. Ace now in chase, though, but gain a little bit of distance there off the fatigue. We do also see a second chance perk here in hand. We'll have to wait and see if they're able to use it to full effect. And Nurse just unable to track the Ace, being a little bit tricksy here.
To say, not the Nurse's finest move. They had relatively quick chases so far, and yeah, Nurse gonna break away from that chase altogether. Fang and Quentin doubling up on a gen on the main building side. Nurse in the spinner, I think. Yeah, they do spot the Kate, and they will go down immediately. I'm about to say, usually the Calm Spirit Survivor is your Deliverance player. I've come to find that these what would you say? These kind of unhinged games. I want to call them unhinged. There's no bans. I find it unhinged.
I mean, it definitely is pretty lax on the rules, seeing what teams can do, and it really does change up the meta a little bit. You know, yeah. We never would see Calm Spirit normally, Ultimate Weapon getting seen, not on all killers, but only those that can really utilize it with, of course, Nurse being one of those killers. And we do see Quentin, I think, baiting a little bit here, trying to get the Nurse attention.
That would make the most sense. But I say, in this situation, I would gladly let Kate go to death progression just to get a gen done, but Survivors being a little bit hook state conscious. We see Ace overall the gen 75% if Quentin hasn't had a pain res used, wait, was Quentin first hooked or second hook? Because we haven't seen a pain res with somebody.
Yeah, so this is not going to be a pain res. Looks like Feng Min going to Queen in to double up on the gen as well. They're going to commit to it. So this looks like the X gates are going to be powered, but Feng Min leaving early.
Oh no, they forgot about the dead man switch.
I think it's not even that. I think they forgot that even though Ace held on to the gen, Feng Min letting go does trigger it nonetheless. I think they're sending someone for the exit gate, and because of that, it ended up costing them the gen.
But I say that's not great for the Survivors. However, Ace does have a hook stage left, but that might cost him a kill. I'm about to say they were looking at a potential 4-out scenario. It doesn't matter. Feng going back over and finishing that generator. There's the unhook on Quentin as well. Ace holding edge map for their life. And I'm looking at this build. There's a little bit of a certain perk as well that might end up costing the Nurse the game still.
Yeah,
you see what I'm seeing?
To wait and see, but they were not able to get that dead hard off in time, unfortunately.
Unfortunate indeed. But wait, there's an unbreakable.
No. So, I mean, the question is now, if they get 3 out, they might be able to escape via the hatch, but Nurse going back, wanting to secure the kill.
But I say, well, either that, you know, hatch spawns at Shack anyway, so it's either they get picked up or they crawl to hatch. So I guess regardless, you do have to go back and get that. So that might be one of the single most insane comebacks from a Survivor squad against Nurse. That stealthing out in the middle of the game after those first 3 hooks. I have never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it was very well done by the Survivors. Definitely, you know, trying to stay calm, keep collected, and in the end, getting the 3-man out. All right, and we are back with set number 2. This time with TK as the Spirit against Barbarian Survivor team. And looks like we will have Meatox killing for TK. And do you want to note that the Barbarians did take set number 1. So TK going to need to win set number 2 here to force a set number 3. Otherwise, we will be going to round 3. And Ace with a cheeky crouch there, but unfortunately just not working out in their favor.
Not quite. They tried their best, and you know what, that's what counts sometimes, is just trying your best. But fortunately, Ace gonna take a very quick hit and down. I'm about to say, considering how well the Survivors came back last time, TK's gonna have to, you know, play pretty aggressively to force set 3 here, because these Survivors are no joke. I wouldn't have thought a Survivor squad could have come back from that Nurse start.
Yeah, it definitely was a rough one to say the least. And once again, Survivors forgetting about how Dead Man Switch works there, as they let go early and resulting in 2 Survivors being blocked off instead of just 1.
I mean, it was the first one. They might not have realized it. I don't know. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, with Grim Embrace, I wouldn't think there'd be a lot of people running Dead Man Switch, but surprisingly, and you know, I'm not against it, yeah, there's a lot of Dead Man Switch in these S tiers. Maybe Grim Embrace just isn't an S tier killer perk.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's a possibility. Otherwise, teams might just be thinking like, I want to tunnel people out and I'm just not getting the most value out of it, but like they're still getting some value per hook. So I don't know, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you get plenty of value from Grim Embrace if a Survivor dies. You can tunnel out at whim and not be punished for it. That's why I think the perk is so insane.
That is fair.
Regardless.
That is fair. That being said, looks like we are going to go for the tunnel out on the Ace.
Does make sense. Ace doing their best. Ooh, is that a dead hard? That was.
Yeah, really
Good
well
time.
timed dead hard there. We do see first gen popping off for those Survivors as well. 4 gens remaining, and looks like the Ace will escape chase as Kate has been picked up and will soon be hooked.
Interesting. So they will end up leaving off and going for the K, which, I mean, they were probably fearing an unbreakable and/or, I mean, I guess you just take your loss here. That was just such a well-timed decisive strike. Well done to the Ace and giving their team a lot of extra steps here. Curious where the Spirit is now. Going to get a reset on Ace. Nowhere to be seen. Ada looks like they're going to be lining up for the save potentially if there is no deli. What's the Spirit doing? I mean, there's 2 gens down already. This is not a good start for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe they're just going to commit to protecting the 3-gen over on Shaq's side. That could be a possibility here that they're setting up for that, though. As we mentioned earlier, 3-gen's no longer as strong as they used to be.
Definitely not. I mean, to be fair, this might be just the killer main in me talking. I think 8 regression events is a bit too little, especially like I don't go out of my way to hold a 3-gen, and I've had a generator blocked on me multiple times in a game, and I only really run pain res, so like maybe 10 or 12, but regardless, we'll have to see. And there is the deli from Kate getting in chase with the spear, dropping the pallet. Here comes the mind game, running around the side, running back and forth across the pallet. And Spirit reads it perfectly, and Kate going down for a second time. No decisive as Ace had Dead Heart. I'm assuming Ace has the decisive.
I would imagine so. It is very commonly paired with Dead Hard, so that would only make sense. But Survivors with another gen popping off here. Looks like Ace is in the crosshairs of the Spirit once again, though. Actually, nope, it is indeed the Ace they're going after. I was wondering if maybe they might end up going for the Ada there, but appears not to be the case.
Indeed, taking a hit, going back towards the center here. Is Spirit going to commit? Doesn't seem to be the case. Second unhook on Kate. I imagine they're gonna go straight back there. I'm curious. Yeah, there still might be a strong gen setup back here, and even if there isn't, the strong 3-gen play, 5% and the Survivors not being able to gen tap, that is something that is strong for the killer. Maybe you'd be able to lead into that. Oh my goodness, they get grabbed?
Yeah, looks like they got grabbed there. Unfortunate mid vault there from the Kate, as they are going to be sent back to the campfire via the entity for that. And looks like Survivors still in a really good position, though. 3 Survivors remaining. They have between them, 8 hooks and only 1 gen left. They are in a very strong position, though we do see a very quick down there, as I do believe Yunjin was exposed from one of the good guys perks.
No way. Is it was it Friends Till the End or what?
Yeah, I believe so, because I did see that timer taken down. I don't believe Yunjin was injured, so Spirit getting some good value out of that.
I say that's wild. We probably should have seen that, considering it changes your obsession. Wait, they haven't. I guess they just now recently hooked the obsession then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that is Friends to the End is an interesting perk. I'm surprised it's seeing play here on Spirit, but it got value, and obviously Survivors didn't see it coming. Man, if the Spirit snowballs this back in their favor because of Good Guy, this is why I love no ban list. I mean, it's a bit jank, it's a bit unhinged, but I love the insanity that ensues because no one expects anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've seen it before, even with the existence of Dragon's Grip before, when we had that running in COTF, the league, with bans and restrictions, where sometimes teams will just bring that randomly and just throw the other team off. But looks like Ada here will be going down, trying to go to Ed's map. We do see Survivor on the other side of the map. That is the Ace, but progression on Gen, not all too well progressed.
I say that's not much progression at all. Do we know the Spirit's perks at this point?
At this point in time, let's take a look. We know, of course, of Sloppy Butcher, Scourgehook Pain Residence, Friends to the End, and a Grim Embrace, which has now procced for the 4th time.
I say this is what makes Grim Embrace so insane, is that this is why I think that Pain Res and Grim Embrace should deactivate upon a Survivor die, because you can tunnel out and still get full value.
Yeah, and looks like Spirit will be in chase with Ace here at Shack.
Indeed, going around the side. Ooh, doubling back. I think the Spirit didn't catch up, but not in time. And Ace going to the corner here. As they're trying to waste as much time as possible, but Survivors are just now probably able to get back on the generator. Listen to the resetting in the background. But I want to say Grim Embrace lasts 40 seconds now with the buff.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw the entity blockers just disappears, so Survivors just taking the time to heal through Sloppy Butcher, and they didn't waste all too much time in the grand scheme of things, but I do believe they've done all the gens on this side of the map, and so I think the Spirit did exactly what we were talking about earlier, where they did protect their 3-gen, and now Survivors in a little bit of a pickle here.
Just a bit, it would seem. I'd say these two gens in the main building are really close together, so I can understand wanting to prioritize them, but Spirit just never seemed to care about this side of the map, and Ada taking a hit, getting into the main building now. Ooh, may not be able to make it to main building. Even if you do, what do you do as the Spirit? Ada doubling back to the pallet for safety, but Spirit, oh my goodness, the Spirit reads really, really well. And that'll be second down.
They are doing a fantastic job here, and we do see the unhook on the ace, but Survivor's now just kind of going back and forth between opposite ends of the map, going for these unhooks, leaving only one survivor on gens, and Spirit just goes, cool, you can, you know, get the unhook all you want, I'll go for the person on the gen, and I'm good to go. And yeah, I think at this point, especially as we now see the chase with the Yoon Jin, things are looking quite grim there. We do see the pick. I think that was Yoon Jin recognizing that they were going to be going down to the exposed anyway, so might as well waste a little bit of time there.
You know, I respect it. The question is, will the survivors be able to, you know, capitalize on this extra, you know, time wasted? I don't know. Yeah, but to say Ace just now getting to go for the unhook. This is looking like a far cry different from the nurse match here for Tecay. So really well done. And this is the kind of result that I could see possibly for renewal on Ada. But will they be able to make it long enough?
That is the question. We do see the Spirit going for them, recognizing the renewal, though. Actually, no, going to be changing targets to the ace, it looks like.
Interesting. Maybe they just don't care about renewal. They've got a really good commanding position, but if they can't two-tap Ada, I don't know. Yeah, I guess everybody's dead on hook. Why not? Very interesting. Ace doing a really good job at this double window. Going into the next tile over, but not able to get... Oh my goodness, what a beautiful dead hard.
Yeah, fantastic job by Ace extending that chase. This might have allowed the other two survivors to get some progress on gens. It looks like Spirit has dropped chase. We see them doubling up on this gen. However, it is for not, as the Spirit here is going to interrupt them. Survivors trying to extend a chase. It looks like they are in sync pretty much. But Spirit going to be going for that phase walk. Ada for the body block, and... I believe this will result in a down on either the Ada or the Yoon Jin here.
Very likely, I would say. And yeah, Ada going to the corner. But all survivors are up besides this one. Even if this one dies, are you able to stick to a gen? They're not. They don't care. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like you said last time, if they bleed out, they bleed out. It doesn't. Even back in regular season, this wouldn't cost you any points. So. Yeah, Spirit looks like they should be taking home the W unless something crazy happens here, right?
Yeah, I mean, as long as Spirit plays conservatively, I don't think there's really any way for these survivors to get this last gen completed, though we will see the pickup there. Was not expecting them to still be on the ace, but they will get the down over there on edge map. Two survivors probably going to be jumping on this gen again, I imagine, but I don't think they're going to have enough time. Spirit knowing full well that they've been working on this gen. That's the Scourge Shook Pain Residence on top of which we're addressing the gen as well. Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate string of events there for these survivors.
Absolutely, but... And you never know. Maybe, you know, Barbarians Killer did a really good job too, and it's not even confounded as F3, but... Obviously, set 3, they will have a chance to redeem themselves. I think Spirit woke up and chose violence. They're like, oh, that didn't go nearly as the way we planned. So, trying to get this gen done, almost 50%.
It is at 50%, about 45 seconds until a gen is completed, but I imagine Spirit will be here in just a few short moments to interrupt. Spirit taking a look at the other gens, and that only leaves one option. So they have not popped over just yet, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's up. Spirit? Do you know what's going on?
Apparently not, as they are getting closer and closer to finishing the 5th gen.
Spirit? Spirit? They're going for the pickup?
That absolutely insane. I'm not sure if maybe they just didn't see it or what, but this could be the turnaround. We do see a scream there from the perk from the good guys, but it does not matter. 5th gen completed. Only other thing I can think of is maybe the other half of the set has already completed and they know full well that they've already won. That'd be my only other thought process.
That would make the most sense. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Okay. Still crazy. I'm sure we'll hear something about what just happened. But regardless, I think Spirit's on the Ada's back here. We will find out shortly. And I imagine this driver will be going back to the campfire as well in short time.
Indeed, and with that being
Spirit
said,
did a really good job.
Yeah, they really did, and definitely interesting use of perks. Definitely going to see what it looks like for the rest of the killers throughout today's qualifier. But that being said, folks, we are going to get set up for either the next set or the next round. That being said, folks, before we do remind everyone here today that you, the viewers, are our sponsors. So all right, and we are back for round number 3, Prophecy versus Barbarians. And we got Barbarians killing as the Huntress against Prophecy's Survivor team. And I am joined here today by T. Tuliaco. How you doing today? All right, it should be a good time. Looks like Ace now in chase, getting hit at the pallet and will get down pretty quickly thereafter. Yeah, I mean, Survivors definitely put them in a disadvantaged position here. We got 1 down, 1 injured before even a gen is completed. Not to mention, we see a whole litany of different perks go off there. We already knew about Ultimate Weapon, of course, but we also saw a Skirt Choke Pain Resonance go off, as well as a Grim Embrace. 4th perk, still a little bit of an unknown. Yeah, the Huntress with their hatchets are on point right now. Dwight going down, and looks like they'll be dragged out further out to the edge of the map. Huntress in a pretty good position here. This here will also be another Grim Embrace activating. Oh yeah, 1000%, and we did hear that Ultimate Weapon going off once again, though Tap seems to be doing a good job hiding from the Huntress. Keep in mind, those aura reading is just a snapshot, not a full reveal, so Huntress doesn't see them right away. However, I think they have been spotted, and looks like we'll be looping around this rock for a hot minute, as Huntress will not be able to get a really good line of sight here, though they do get a mind game, gaining a little bit of distance. Yeah, but Tap doing a great job managing their sprint burst there. We saw them walk it out there at the truck, and we'll gain some distance for it. And now it's going to be going around a tight loop. I think Tap trying to find a resource, though, not going to find one, and Huntress going to miss their hatchet here. Yes, and I am being informed that we seem to be missing your audio, which is an odd one. Let me double check the link real quick and see if we can get you up to date. I have your correct video.ninja, but I'm not getting any audio on your end. So while I fix some technical issues, I will solo cast for just a little bit as Survivors do get their first gen completed here. Huntress still in chase with the Tap. They are not giving up, though. Tap will end up going down. We do, in fact, see a second gen popping off as well. An attempted flashlight save by these Survivors to no avail, though. And looks like 2 Survivors will get pushed off this gen. Looks like it was Nancy, and I want to say it was a Dwight. Yes, Dwight with a flashlight in hand would be the one attempting to blind the Huntress up on top of the hill to no success, unfortunately. All right, so let's take a look and see. Do a quick audio test.
Hello, hello. Hopefully.
There we are. Perfect. We do in fact have T here for real this time. Thank you much for joining us once again. I know we did an intro earlier, but doing a little bit of a re-intro as we are going to be kind of re-jumping back into this match with the Huntress from the Barbarians to Prophecy Survivor team. And looks like Nancy now in chase. I believe this is going to be their first chase here of the Huntress and potentially first hook, which will be very important for the Huntress as they do have Scourgehook, Pain Resonance, and Grim Embrace still in hand.
Yeah, and these survivors are doing a great job. You know, they've got 2 gens down. They've got 3 hooks, which is manageable. That was a good hit on the Nancy, though, at that pallet. Really, really nice.
Yeah, Huntress has been pretty on point. Those survivors kind of starting to rally back a little bit. That chase with Tap definitely helped bolster their position. Though Nancy going down nonetheless, we see, 3 survivors currently on gens. Looks like Tap leaving a little bit early. Still broken from what I believe to be their Deliverance. And this here will be a Scourgehook Pain Resonance getting, I believe that was Dwight off of their gen, and soon a Grim Embrace, which I think is the full 40-second Grim Embrace, will become activated here shortly.
So it looks like we've got a Tap injured. We've got someone on hook. This isn't the worst place, but unfortunately this Tap getting chased isn't a great thing for the survivors. It looks like maybe this could start to snowball pretty soon. I'm not sure, but I think the survivors have a little bit of work to do now at this point.
Yeah, just a little bit, especially with that Grim Embrace still up and running. We see that Tap get hooked. I do want to point out that was a really close hatchet lobbed over to intercept the Dwight on the unhook on Nancy. And looks like we are going to see them jump back on gens. 2 gens about at 50%, so survivors could potentially get 2 gens here. We see Dwight going over for the unhook, though. We do see Huntress very close by.
She sees you when you're sleeping. She knows when you're awake. She's always nearby, and that lullaby is always going to be haunting our survivors. She's keeping a pretty close eye on that hook. Looks like she wants to get somebody out of here for good, which at this point makes a lot of sense.
Yes, indeed. However, we do want to point out Tap does now have the ability to self-unhook here. Whether or not they take the opportunity yet to be determined, or if they're going to wait as long as possible before doing so. Huntress forgetting about that fact. We'll have to wait and see if they do make use of it, though, as Huntress being right in front of them does make it a little bit tricky to unhook themselves.
You know, at this point, you kind of have to decide, is it worth it to go for that? Or are you better off just stalling as long as you can on hook? It's a tough decision, and definitely an interesting mechanic that's been introduced not only into DBD, but specifically into the comp scene as well.
Yeah, it definitely is new. I'm wondering if maybe the team here from Prophecy did forget that they could self-unhook. The Huntress definitely forgot about that fact as we saw them camping there. Looks like we did get a hit on, I want to say, the Nancy there. I'm not sure if that... I think that was a long-range lob from the Huntress, because I did not see the Nancy anywhere near Huntress at the time, but Nancy probably getting a little bit spooked off that gen.
Yeah, absolutely. These survivors are actually in a pretty good spot right now. They've got 1 gen left. It looks like they've got a couple in a pretty good spot. She's on the Dwight, who is not injured, which means, you know, chase can be prolonged a little bit more, obviously. You know, I like the odds here for our survivors. Maybe a 1 or 2 man out potentially. It'll all depend on, you know, how these next couple of minutes go.
Yeah, and I think Huntress sensed that too, as they did initially drop chase there with the Dwight, but will jump back in chase. We saw 2 gens at a pretty good progression, and 1 with Deja Vu making that progression even faster. Nancy, I think, will complete their gen before the ace, and this will power the X gates, meaning that survivors do now have a chance of escaping.
Yeah, and it's always hard when you get to the end of a match like this, and especially in comp when you're playing killer. You know, you're on the survivor who is fully healed. You know that there's another one out there who's injured. That would be an easier chase potentially, but you know, at some point you kind of have to decide if you're going to commit to one or the other, and you've really just got to go for it. Otherwise, you're just giving the survivors a lot of time to get their work done, and get it done they absolutely did.
Yes, indeed, and we once again see the Huntress now here at the Fun Bustle with the Dwight. Pallet's still down, so they do have a little bit of resources to work with. The Huntress seemingly going to just bloodlust this out. I do want to point out, Survivor's probably aware of the fourth and final perk, that of which was, in fact, No Way Out, which is still activated, I think, for another, like, 12 seconds or so.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. No Way Out, always a nasty one, but good that they got it activated pretty quickly. Means they'll be able to get out quicker. And now the question is, do they go for their friend or do they go for the 2-man out? And in a comp situation, it's always a little bit more of a difficult situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do see Ace here on the X gates just less than 20 seconds before it is opened. And keep in mind that the major win condition here is going to be gens, followed by number of hooks, followed by number of escapes. So depending on the results of the opposite side of this set, definitely could change things. But Ace dodging some hatchets here, trying to do their best to not take a free hit. As you do see Nancy going back for the unhook. Huntress sensing that will go back as well. Sees the Nancy round the corner, but no line of sight to get that hatchet, and looks like they're either going to go for the Dwight or for the Nancy, and looks like they're going for the Nancy.
Interesting. Now it's just a matter of getting to the exit, bobbing and weaving, using as many things as you can between you and the Huntress. That pallet slap going to be pretty helpful, I would say, although Nancy's got a pretty long way to go to get to the other side of the map. Maybe there'll be enough time to reset that Dwight. Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Nancy, that 1-2 hit there, just making it quite difficult. I mean, it's Babushka Okaft, so makes sense, you know, Machine Gun Huntress coming in, and that there will be the hook on Nancy. The 2-man out for Prophecy's Survivor teams. We'll have to take a look and see what the result is for set number 1. Either ways, we are going to be going to the rootin' tootin' shootin' cowboy himself for set number 2. Now, that being said, friends, we are going to go to a quick break, but before we do remind everyone here today that you, yes, you the viewers, are our sponsors. So that as they watch, the bits they tip, bottle subs they buy, and of course, would work energy by using the code COTF. Go support. All right. And we are back for set number 2, Prophecy versus Barbarians. Prophecy winning set number 1 against Barbarians Killer. And we are going to now see their survivors, or rather Prophecy survivors, against Barbarians Deathslinger. And it is the rootin' tootin' shootin' cowboy himself.
We love a good Deathslinger match. Honestly, I feel like I don't get to see enough of them in comp, but gosh, seeing those crack shots is always such a joy.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Deathslinger too is like the only killer that doesn't have the screen shearing or tearing, so we can actually watch the killer perspective here as Dwight is now in chase with them. A good first shot and a pre-drop there from the Dwight. Deathslinger going to try and get within range before they get to the door, but will not aim down sight. Looks like they're just going to take their time here, and with that gen in the shack, that does give the survivor a little bit of extra wiggle room, or at least a little bit of extra protection here.
It looks like we did spot somebody over on our right a minute ago, but obviously going to pursue this Dwight in hopes of a pretty quick down before that first gen goes off.
Yeah, Survivor's doing a good job though, but does get tagged by the Slinger, and there is the down. And as far as perks are concerned, none revealed so far, except of course of a good old Corrupt Intervention, though that might change shortly. We'll have to wait and see, as Scourge Pain Resonance, usually a pretty common pick, and sure enough, there it is.
That dastardly Pain Res, which has been plaguing survivors since its release. Very strong perk in general in your pubs matches, especially in comp matches. I feel like it's the new Corrupt Intervention.
Oh yeah, like I would say if you are looking to win in your match, bringing Scourge Hook Pain Resonance stuff, that makes a lot of sense. I will say though, with the new regression, you know, rules or functionality of the gens, it does make it interesting to see how killers manage regressing gens by kicking them, as they only have the ability to regress a gen a total of 8 times.
That's right. That is a new thing that I completely forgot about. So thank you so much for reminding not only me, but any viewers who might not have played Super recently either.
Yes, and looks like a little bit of mind game there from the Death Slinger. Was successful in getting the hit on Dwight, and I think that was an off the record there. Slinger with a bit of a wider shot there, thinking that the Dwight might flick out in order to avoid it, but they just held W for dear life and continue to do so, it would seem, though now a little bit in a predicament here. Slinger trying to box them out, will get the shots and the inevitable down.
That was an unfortunate loop to kind of get stuck on, because even with that pallet drop, that shot, it was too short a distance to be able to break away from that chain. Really well played by our Slinger, and a good try from the Dwight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a look at the gens, Ace's gen just about to be complete. That'll be the third gen completed here for the survivors. Tap right now just kind of hanging off gens, making the way over towards the next, maybe walking out due to sprint burst in hand. Sure enough, that is the case as Ace does complete their third gen. Slinger just kind of hanging around this area, checking to see if there's any survivors in the immediate vicinity.
Looks like they're not seeing anyone. They definitely want to get this Dwight out pretty quick. Survivors with 3 gens down, 4 survivors still up. A pretty decent spot to be. Obviously, if we lose the Dwight, that's slightly less advantageous, but they're playing really strong. And, you know, I think the Death Slinger is going to have a little bit of work to do to make up for how well these survivors are playing.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see Tap here ready in the wings, the sprint in for the unhook. But we'll have to wait and see. There's a sprint burst. Death Slinger caught off guard. There's the hit, but Dwight ends up dying anyways. This is exactly the turnaround moment that the Slinger needed. As he said, they had a lot of pressure going for them. Ace trying to come in for the pallet stun, but Tap just not in position. And that there will be another hook, a fresh hook at that. So Scourge Hook Pain Resonance very likely incoming.
Anytime we can get a fresh hook on a survivor is always advantageous in the comp scene. Really nicely done by the Slinger. 1 gen left for the survivors, and Ace looking to come in here with that festive popper in hand, maybe be the difference maker right now.
Yeah, especially as we do see Nancy now in chase with the Slinger. Slinger trying to box them out. Nancy going to the edge map. A very close shot there from the Redeemer, but Nancy narrowly dodging it, though. Slinger already reloaded and will get the hit and the down, respectively.
Really nicely done. I think this is Nancy's first hook, right?
Yes, this will be Nancy's first hook, which means very likely another Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. The last time we saw it, it was not a lot of regression on that gen, or rather not a lot of progression to regress, and I imagine that is still the case here. Yeah, we look at the last gen being worked on here, and just maybe about 1/5 of the way through, Death Slinger now also finding the injured Tap, so in a very good position, though we do see the unhook from the Nancy. Not sure if that was a self unhook. I'm doubtful of it. Very likely a unhook there from the Ace.
We see this Nancy in chase, right? No, that wasn't the Nancy. Oh my gosh, I'm 100% wrong. That was the Tap. Tap going down. Also their first hook?
So for Tap, if we're taking a look here, that there is actually going to be their second hook, so they're going to be 1 hook away from being sent back to the campfire via the entity. However, Ace on this gen, just about 66-75% of the way through. Doubtful that the Slinger will be able to get there in time, though if they do, Ace is fresh, which does mean another Scourge Hook Pain Resonance potentially. We see Slinger on their way, but taking a little bit of a roundabout route, but they will end up pushing the Ace off of the gen, and Slinger will get a kick in on it to regress it a little bit further.
You know, just like the first cut can be the deepest, sometimes the last gen can be the toughest. Getting that last one out, especially when you're down 1 person, can be a little bit rough, and it looks like he is going to pursue this Ace. Super smart decision. As you mentioned, it would be a fresh hook. It would proc that pain res. This might be a little bit rougher of an ending than I was anticipating.
Yeah, especially if everyone injured right now. We do see Tap there with the sprint burst. Slinger gonna hold, but will miss their shot, giving the Tap another chance. I imagine Ace gonna be back on the gen here in just a few short moments. Surprisingly, Tap not going for the vault. There is the last gen, and we do see Noed in play here. I mean that the Death Slinger here does have a little bit of a haste status effect and a no way out to boot. And these survivors definitely in a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, absolutely. All three of them are injured, which is pretty rough, especially with a ranged killer. That's never good, especially with a killer who can yank you out of the exit gates and just pull you back into the entity's realm. This is gonna be tough. I think if they're willing to sacrifice Tap, they could potentially get 2 out, but with that no way out, they've still got a decent amount of time they've got to wait before they even can get started on those exit gates.
Yeah, looks like about 12 seconds or so before No Way Out deactivates. Ace doing a fantastic job here in chase, though it will only last for so long as they will end up getting down underneath the pallet. Let's take a look real quick and see if maybe there's a survivor nearby, and sure enough, there's the Tap with Sprint Burst in hand. This is a dangerous play as they're still exposed from Noed, and looks like Tap will not take the risk, instead letting Ace get hooked.
And sometimes you have to make that decision, you know, again, especially in a comp situation as opposed to pubs where you can play a little more risky. Sometimes you just have to let somebody get hooked. Sometimes you just have to let one of your teammates die. Looks like Tap is waiting to make his move. But the question is our Slinger going to go far enough away to let that happen? I don't know. And given that Tap is still exposed, this is super risky.
Yeah, however, we did take a peek there, and Nancy was cleansing Noed, meaning that we no longer have that exposed stats effect. So this does give Tap the possibility, though we do see Tap sprint bursting in the opposite direction. I think the team may have made their decision in real time and opted to go for the 2-man out, though Slinger, seeing that, will go after the Tap, though I do not think they'll be able to get them down in time, meaning that Tap and Nancy will escape from the entity's realm, and we are going to either be going to a set 3 with the Trickster or a round number 4 here in just a few short moments. So let you guys know here once we do get those results. But in the meanwhile, friends, as always, you the viewers are our sponsors, so that as they watch the bits they tip, but subs they buy, and of course the Rogue Energy buy using the code COTF. All right, and we are back for set number 3, Prophecy versus Barbarians. Barbarians once again killing against Prophecy's Survivor team. And I believe the killer this time is Rob Stark on the Trickster, once again here on the Wrecker's Yard.
I'm so excited to see some Trickster play. Trickster is another one that I have seen in comp very few times, but I do spend a lot of time over at twitch.tv/LilRugard, and so I love me some good Trickster gameplay. I am super excited about this match, and it looks like we have found the ace pretty quickly and got that first hit in.
Yeah, main event coming in as well. Trickster trying to go for a quick down here. Ace trying their best to delay the inevitable, but will end up going down to the main event nonetheless. And this here will be first look here for Ace. As far as perks are concerned, good old Corrupt Invention just ended. Scourge Choke Pain Resonance just procced. Other two, a little bit of an unknown. We'll have to wait and see what those look like here as Nancy going back in, trying to gen tap the regressing gen, forgetting though that you have a minimum amount of progression that you need to repair before the gen stops regressing.
That is right. That is one of the new things that got added. Along with the 8 kicks, I believe. There have been some really big shakeups in DBD recently, and it's interesting to see how that factors into comp when so many things are just kind of automatic, like tapping the gen, like not trying to escape on second hook, because those things are just so ingrained in people who have been playing this game for years and years.
Yeah, no, there's definitely been a lot of changes. I mean, I started playing DBD when it first came out, and the game is a night and day difference, especially with the self-unhook there from the ace, which Trickster, like I said, may have forgotten about earlier in this match, and I think it shows here as Ace did successfully self-unhook themselves, going to drop the pallet just a little bit early, and looks like Trickster is still going to be on them. Question is whether or not they'll be able to get the down quickly thereafter, and there's them one.
Yeah, and especially in the comp scene with the new unhook mechanic, that is a huge shakeup to the comp scene, the comp meta, the comp playstyle, where camping and tunneling someone out almost immediately was one of the biggest strategies for killers in the scene. So this new mechanic that it really prevents to some degree hook camping is really interesting to see in the comp scene now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can still proxy. You just have to be a little bit more mindful. You can't just like face camp as much as you could prior. And we are seeing Nancy now in chase with the Trickster. Trickster going for a bit of a vault here. We did see the Nancy actually doing a fantastic job delaying the Trickster when in chase with the Ace earlier, as Ace now is healed, and Nancy with a reverse pallet stun will gain a little bit of distance there.
Always satisfying to get those reverse pallet stuns, and Nancy did a really excellent job coming in for the Ace after he hit that DS that we saw, taking chase. That's all what it's kind of what it's all about on the Survivor side and comp scene is spreading out your hooks as much as you can, trying to protect your survivors from getting tunneled out as much as you can. So you see a lot of this body blocking coming in, taking chase from other survivors, and this Nancy did a great job of doing that for the Ace.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see Nancy get a little bit tripped up there, but I think the Trickster missed them and/or is now going to be focused on the Tap here, who they are now in chase with. They will get a hit through the pallet, though. Tap in a little bit of a unfortunate position. Those survivors now 3 gens in, 2 remaining before they are able to power the exit gates and potentially escape via them.
Yeah, and this is kind of one of those things that comes with playing Killer more. It's certainly a skill that I'm working on, is just deciding when is it more advantageous for me to drop chase with one survivor and go for another, especially if that survivor may be a little more out of position. When is it better for me to keep on with the survivor that you were chasing previously? You have to make those kind of decisions pretty quickly, and it looks like dropping chase with the Nancy and going for the tap really paid off for our Trickster.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like we are going to see No Way Out once again, though this time not very long, only 2 stacks. So I believe that's 36 seconds in total, though a haste aspect from the Trickster as well. This here is a no-ed, folks, and that there is a down on the Ace.
I was about to say, we're at that point in the match where you've seen 3 perks and you have to ask yourself that question that everyone hates. Is that last perk no-ed? And in this case, it definitely is.
Yes, indeed. And we do see the Trickster going for another down here, this time on the Dwight. And looks like they will end up getting the down.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for our Dwight. Looks like we are getting a reset over with 2 of our other survivors, though. So, you know, if they can find the totem, or if they can just get the doors open, get that 3-man out, they might just go for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. We're gonna have to wait and see what the result looks like. And Nancy just showing off their moves here as they make the way over towards Ace's exit gate. We do see that no-ed has been disabled. A little bit of BM there on the hook, as Trickster is going to be confirming the kill here. Of course, the self-unhook is disabled, so you can try and 4%, but those are your only chances, and looks like that will be a 1K here for the Trickster.
That was a tough match for them. You know, they started out pretty quick. They got that first down on the Ace, but once the Ace hit the DS and the Nancy came in, took some chase, the Tap came in, took some chase. The survivors just did a really good job of getting the job done that they needed to do, helping each other out as much as they could and cranking out the gens.